my team to deconstruct it, to take it all apart and decide on the kinds of spaces that are appropriate for the living of the students and faculties and so on. But what I mean by that is spaces for motion, spaces for transition, spaces for repose, spaces for public gathering. And you wind up then with a system of voids and spaces. And then you take the program and divide it into what is conducive to public spaces. All the big classrooms, all the big lecture rooms are conducive to public classes, to public spaces, regardless of what school they belong to. It may belong to the School of Medicine. It may belong to the School of Law and Humanities. Don't think about separating them to different schools. Education is one process. And then take spaces that are conducive to motion. You go from one space to another. You move through a little street or a little lane, and spaces for contemplation. There are spaces you need to sit down in a bench next to a fountain with your beloved, fall in love, or have intellectual discourse, and so on. Once all of these voids are organized, then take the program, regardless what discipline it belongs to, and arrange those around those spaces. And then, of course, this idea expands to landscape architecture and so on. Everything is landscape architecture. There is no architecture. Everything is landscape. And the architecture you produce has to become subservient to landscape. If an architect designs something that imposes itself on the landscape and doesn't become the continuation of the landscape, that is a great sin, because you are violating the trust of God, which is landscape, and you are trying to impose and put your ego above it. That kind of architecture, form doesn't follow function, because you're organizing all of these things according to the voids and spaces, which becomes continuous architecture of interior spaces.